I had a good job coming up, a job I would have dreamed of.
Tom Selleck didn't just become a household name. He quietly became a financial powerhouse.
You know, hopefully I'll keep working enough to hold on to the place.
Seriously, that's an issue? If you stopped
It's
working?
always an issue. If I stop working, yeah. Am I set for life? Yeah, but maybe not on a 63-acre ranch.
He might be known for Magnum P.I. and Blue Bloods, but behind that mustache is a man who turned TV fame into multi-generational wealth. Ever wonder how much he's really worth? And how much of that went straight to his family? What secrets lie behind his sprawling ranch? How did he outsmart Hollywood's money traps? We'll uncover how Tom Selleck used smart deals, land investments, and silent business moves to build a legacy most actors only dream of. The rise of a reluctant star. Before he became the mustachioed face of American television, Tom Selleck was just a regular kid from Detroit with no plans of ever becoming famous. Born in 1945, his family moved to Sherman Oaks, California, where he was raised alongside 3 siblings. Unlike most stars who grow up with dreams of red carpets and bright lights, Tom's aspirations were far simpler. He wanted to play basketball. In fact, that dream came true when he earned a scholarship to the University of Southern California. At USC, he studied business and thrived on the court, playing for the Trojans as a forward. At the time, acting wasn't even on his radar. But life has a funny way of changing your direction when you least expect it. While still attending USC, one of his drama instructors encouraged him to pursue acting. It wasn't a grand vision or lifelong passion. It was a suggestion, almost offhanded. And surprisingly, Selleck listened. He began taking acting lessons while doing commercial work on the side, including memorable ads for Right Guard and Pepsi. His tall, athletic frame and classic good looks made him a favorite in the world of print and television advertising. It wasn't long before he caught the eye of casting agents. At the same time, the Vietnam War was shaping the future of countless young Americans. Selleck was drafted and served in the California Army National Guard from 1967 to 1973. Unlike many of his peers in Hollywood, Tom served quietly, without fanfare, and with deep respect for his country. That sense of duty and integrity would later define both his roles and his off-screen persona. Once back home from the service, Selleck just kept at it. The small acting roles came in The Rockford Files and Lancer, and bit by bit, he built up a resume that didn't shout star, yet at least promised something. Of course, it included now legendary near misses. He screen-tested for the part of Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark, but turned it down because he had already done some contractual thing that he could not leave. That might have broken another actor's momentum, but really, Tom just trucked on. Then, in 1980, everything changed. He got Thomas Magnum in Magnum P.I., a Hawaiian-set detective series that was about to turn the definition of cool upside down on television. It was not just the Ferrari, the tiger's cap, or the mustache. It was Selleck. Charismatic, laid back, and quietly intense, he presented the audience with a new kind of leading man. They just couldn't get enough of it. At the time, Magnum P.I. was more than just a cultural phenomenon. That's why Selleck got the biggest payday ever, reportedly earning $500,000 an episode for the series' final seasons, which would be well over $1 million an episode today. The show lasted for 8 seasons and contained more than 160 episodes, which makes Selleck fall into a pretty rare category. A TV actor who manufactured massive fame and security in monetary terms. But it did not change him. While everyone else would spend their newly acquired fortune on ostentatious mansions and an extravagant lifestyle, Selleck kept it humble with a ranch, lived out of the tabloids, and kept on working. To him, acting was a job, not a ticket to recklessness. His grounded approach wasn't only admirable, it was strategic, and that early strategy would pay out in ways no one could have predicted. He wasn't just building a career, he was building the foundation for a private empire. Because while everyone was watching the mustache and the Ferrari, Tom Selleck was quietly building something much bigger. His next chapter would prove it. From Magnum to Blue Bloods. When Tom Selleck became Thomas Magnum, it wasn't just another television role. It was a cultural milestone. Magnum P.I. premiered in 1980 and quickly became one of the biggest shows of the decade. Set in sun-soaked Hawaii, it offered viewers a dreamy escape filled with high-speed chases, beach views, clever mysteries, and one unforgettable Ferrari. But at the center of it all was Selleck's charm. With his laid-back wit, effortless masculinity, and iconic mustache, he redefined what a television leading man could be. By the mid-'80s, he wasn't just a household name, he was TV royalty. What few people realize is that Magnum P.I. almost didn't happen. Selleck had screen-tested for the role of Indiana Jones and was the top pick for Raiders of the Lost Ark. But due to his existing contract with CBS, he had to walk away from the role that would later go to Harrison Ford. Most actors would have regretted that missed shot, but for Tom, Magnum P.I. turned out to be a career jackpot. Over 8 seasons, he filmed 162 episodes and earned an estimated $500,000 per episode in the show's later years, over $1 million per episode in today's dollars. Even decades later, Magnum P.I. remains one of the most beloved rerun series in television history, providing Selleck with steady royalty income that still rolls in to this day. But Selleck wasn't content to be typecast. He carefully avoided being boxed in as just Magnum. He declined roles that echoed the same archetype and instead pursued diversity in his career. His performance in the 1987 hit 3 Men and a Baby showed off his comedic timing, and later films like Quigley Down Under and An Innocent Man gave him the chance to stretch his acting legs in action, westerns, and drama. He also charmed a new generation of fans in the 1990s when he guest-starred as Dr. Richard Burke, Monica's older, impossibly suave boyfriend, on Friends. His appearances earned him an Emmy nomination and reminded everyone that his star power hadn't dimmed one bit. Then came Blue Bloods. In 2010, Selleck debuted in primetime as New York City Police Commissioner Frank Reagan in CBS's Blue Bloods. In stark contrast to his breezy Magnum character, Reagan is stoic, principled, and driven by justice and family values. The show's premise was based on a multi-generational law enforcement family, and Selleck was seated at the head of the table, both literally and figuratively. Blue Bloods was an instant success, mainly because of Selleck's presence. His character was the kind of broad moral canvas rarely offered in a network drama, and Selleck invested the role with a well-earned sense of weight. Each passing season would find the character growing even more complex and helping to deepen the audience's emotional investment. Selleck appeared on Blue Bloods for over 275 episodes, shooting approximately 14 seasons at an estimated $200,000 per episode. That would amount to over $56 million in base salary, not counting increasing syndication royalties accrued as the show broadcasts on television in countries across the world. For most, Selleck merely piled up dollars, but he contributed to shaping the show. The actor was the executive producer and worked with the writers and showrunners to maintain the character, authenticity, and integrity of the production. His efforts ensure that it does not lose its feet from Blue Bloods, disconnects itself from possible relatable experiences too, even with the many convolutions of issues in modern law enforcement. At a time when most actors fade after a single defining role, Tom Selleck did the unimaginable. He redefined himself into another era, never abandoning his original traits that audiences loved. From Hawaiian beaches to gritty New York streets, he showed that real staying power is not about looks or actual trends, but about consistency, quality, and knowing who you are. But behind the camera, something even bigger was happening. Tom wasn't just acting anymore. He was quietly producing, investing, and planting the seeds of a media empire that would soon reveal just how sharp his instincts really were. The hidden business behind Jesse Stone. Tom Selleck's fans often point to Magnum P.I. or Blue Bloods as his biggest career highlights. But there's another project that reveals a very different side of the actor. The Jesse Stone film series. Quiet, introspective, and tinged with emotional depth, these made-for-TV movies never topped the ratings charts. But behind the scenes, Jesse Stone became one of Tom Selleck's most personal and profitable ventures. It wasn't just another acting gig, it was a business move, a legacy project, and a masterclass in creative control. Based on the novels by Robert B. Parker, Jesse Stone tells the story of a small-town police chief grappling with addiction, loss, and the ghosts of his past. The tone is slow-burning and somber, far removed from the energetic flair of Magnum or the fast-paced action of Blue Bloods. But that's exactly what drew Selleck in. He saw something others didn't, the chance to create storytelling with emotional depth, adult themes, and long-form character development rarely seen on network TV. What makes the Jesse Stone series even more remarkable is who owned it. Tom didn't just star in the films, he produced them through his company, TWS, Tom William Selleck Productions. This wasn't a vanity credit. He co-wrote scripts, oversaw casting, worked with directors, and even handled certain distribution decisions. He was deeply involved in every phase of the production. And because of that hands-on approach, Selleck was able to make decisions that aligned not just with his artistic values, but his financial ones too. The business side of Jesse Stone was shrewdly structured. Rather than rely solely on studio funding, Selleck secured partial backing through his own company and through strategic licensing deals. He partnered with CBS to air the films, but retained certain creative and back-end rights. This allowed him to earn not just a salary as lead actor, but royalties as producer and partial owner. Estimates suggest that through TWS Productions, Selleck made upwards of $1.5 million from the series, not including international licensing, DVD sales, or streaming revenues that continue to trickle in today. At the time, many actors were still hanging on to paychecks from a recently ended series. But Selleck learned that to build true wealth and not temporary fame ownership was necessary. He didn't just work for a network through Jesse Stone, he worked with them on his terms. This is also why his storytelling could go deeper as a creative. For Jesse, Selleck portrayed a man weathered by regret, but pushed by a quiet moral code. He showed pain, patience, and vulnerability qualities rare from mainstream male leads. Critics praised the performance. Fans stayed loyal across 9 films, and Selleck proved he could carry a character with minimal flash and maximum heart. Most impressively, however, the performance made a character common to a few that became a franchise without its reliance on mass audience appeal. Jesse Stone barked, "No explosions, cliffhangers, or viral buzz." Instead, it thrived on tone, character, and word of mouth, a near impossible concept in American television commercialism. Thus, Selleck did not come to rest when CBS finally took things off the air in 2012. He made efforts to keep Jesse Stone alive and even helped bring it back via Hallmark Partnership and various other outlets. He had faith in the material, the message, and the character. Audiences kept coming. From an occasional diversion, it turned into something much broader, a revenue stream, a creative sandbox, and an example of how an actor could generate long-term value by betting on quality and owning their work with every subsequent installment. But while Tom was quietly building his own production company and running a profitable film franchise, there was another part of his life, far from the cameras, that spoke to his values even more: the land he lives on and the fortune he built from it. The 65 acres of smart wealth. To the casual observer, Tom Selleck's Ventura Ranch looks like a peaceful escape from Hollywood, a sprawling 65-acre estate tucked into the quiet hills of Southern California. But for those who know the actor's mind for business, that ranch is more than a retreat. It's a calculated investment, a statement of independence, and a cornerstone of his long-term financial legacy. This wasn't just a home, it was smart wealth in its most grounded form. Selleck bought the property in 1988 for a reported $5 million. At the time, some thought it was a luxury splurge. But to Tom, it was a deliberate move. Real estate, especially land in coastal California, has historically appreciated in value. And unlike stocks or endorsement deals, owning land offered stability, privacy, and control, qualities Selleck values above all else. He wasn't just parking money, he was planting roots. And he took that literally. The ranch became his passion project. Rather than treat it like a showpiece, Selleck rolled up his sleeves and got to work, planting, building, and maintaining the property himself. He grew avocados, managed the grounds, and used the land not just as a living space, but a working one. In interviews, he's described the physical labor as therapeutic, his antidote to the chaos of celebrity life. But behind the serenity lies business sense. The main house alone spans over 7,700 square feet, complete with coffered ceilings, custom woodwork, and panoramic views of the California hills. Every feature, from the rooftop vegetable garden to the private gym, adds both personal value and market appeal. Beyond the residence, the land includes recreation areas, a golf green, basketball court, wine cellar, and more. Elements that turn the estate into a multi-purpose, high-value asset. A good decision becomes clearer with numbers. For example, the $5 million investment in the late 1980s would be worth well over $30 million now, by comparable sales in the area and rising demand for private acreage in Southern California. And unlike a high-risk portfolio, the ranch has continued to pay dividends, not in rent checks, but in peace of mind, family memories, and long-term security. Even its controversies speak to its worth. Selleck had legal troubles in 2015 for allegedly hauling more than 1 million gallons of water during California's historically severe drought to keep his avocado trees flourishing. The incident was settled for a $21,000 payment with no admission of guilt, but leaves room for something larger. The land was productive. It was a business in itself, giving crops and holding real agricultural operations. That combination of personal use and financial utility is seldom found in Hollywood. Most celebrities buy to flaunt, but Selleck bought to use and to grow. Everyone else seemed bent on choosy, high-profile condominiums or international luxury homes. Selleck restricted his research to one property, as an example, one he could understand, control, and develop over time. It was not glitzy. It was tactical. Selleck has admitted that he turns down acting jobs to stay home. He actually tailored his blue blood schedule around time at the ranch, flying back and forth from New York to California so he could work the land himself. That kind of dedication, it was not merely living, it was really about taking care of and guarding a very vital component of his wealth with his two hands. For Tom Selleck, the Ventura Ranch is not merely a residence. It is where he secures wealth, interacts with the dirt, and creates values insulated from market shifts or box office flops. This substantiates that sometimes the shrewdest investments are those that go unnoticed. But while real estate kept his wealth secure, there was another part of Selleck's fortune that roared down the road, sleek, fast, and engineered for performance. Let's take a look under the hood of the car collection that defined an era. A Hawaiian escape built for privacy. If Tom Selleck's Ventura Ranch was his stronghold, his Hawaiian home was his sanctuary. In the early 1990s, long before paparazzi drones and tabloid leaks turned celebrity privacy into a constant battle, Selleck made a bold move. He bought a secluded property on the shores of Hawaii, far from the noise of Los Angeles and the ever-watching eyes of Hollywood. What he built there wasn't just a vacation home. It was a fortress of peace, security, and personal freedom. The exact price of the oceanfront estate has never been publicly revealed, but insiders estimate it easily fell into the multi-million-dollar range. Located in one of Hawaii's most private areas, the home offered something money can't always buy: isolation. For nearly a decade, Selleck, his wife Jilly Mack, and their daughter Hannah lived full-time in this remote paradise, enjoying quiet days and uninterrupted family life. For a man who'd lived under the glare of the spotlight since the 1980s, it was the retreat he desperately needed. But don't mistake privacy for simplicity. The Hawaiian home was as luxurious as it was discreet. One of the most talked-about features was a private in-home movie theater, built not as a vanity addition, but as a gathering place. Selleck would often invite friends and co-stars, including his Magnum P.I. crew, to watch rushes and early edits of their work together. It wasn't just about movies, it was about connection, camaraderie, and celebrating the craft away from the chaos. Yet one of the most surprising details inside the home wasn't entertainment-based at all. It was a concrete-lined safe room, complete with a heavy-duty bank vault door. The presence of a panic room raised eyebrows at the time. Why would someone so seemingly laid back go to such lengths for security? The answer lies in Selleck's personality. He's thoughtful, meticulous, and deeply protective of his family. The vault room wasn't about paranoia. It was about preparedness. The design of the house is yet another model of stylish subtlety. The floor-to-ceiling panes filled the space full of natural light, giving way to uninterrupted views of the Pacific. High ceilings achieved that airy, open feel, while polished terrazzo floors made an organic link to the outside sandy shores. All rooms provided the ultimate possible flow across all parameters: air, light, and energy, the perfect balance of island charm and well-planned architectural elegance. The property itself was very exotic and vast, and cocooned with palm and indigenous undergrowth. Living spaces outdoors were built for peaceful breakfasts with the sunrise, huge family dinners under the stars, and the kind of tranquility that most celebrities only dream of. While the paparazzi worried about grabbing headlines on the mainland, Tom Selleck was busy instead raising his daughter, taking care of his home, and achieving real peace. But as with many of life's chapters, this one would close in the end. In 2001, Selleck sold it after almost 10 years of island life for almost $2.5 million. And now he was stepping into yet another stage of his daughter's life, with ties stronger than before to mainland commitments, including new roles and business ventures. But the years spent in Hawaii were more than just a respite between famous stints. They were a reset. The Hawaiian home now serves as anything but an outward display of a lifestyle Selleck lived versus a Hollywood one. Privacy over parties, real life over red carpets. It isn't about the biggest house. It's about creating a space away from cameras, agents, and studio meetings where he can truly feel himself. And while Tom was escaping to the islands for peace, another part of his life was built for pure thrill. Performance machines that could tear down any road. Get ready to ride into the heart of his high-powered car collection. The cars, endorsements, and passive income. Tom Selleck doesn't flaunt his wealth, but look under the hood, literally, and you'll find a man who knows exactly where to spend for passion and profit. His lifestyle might scream modesty on the surface, but the cars in his garage and the contracts in his portfolio tell a much different story. This is where classic elegance meets strategic wealth building. And it all begins with the purr of a Ferrari. Selleck's most iconic on-screen ride is undoubtedly the Ferrari 308 GTS, immortalized in Magnum P.I. With its wedge-like design, snarling V8 engine, and top-down freedom, the car wasn't just a prop, it became a pop culture icon. While the show used studio-owned vehicles, Selleck later acquired his own 308 GTS, reportedly restoring one to keep as a symbol of that pivotal time in his career. Underneath its sleek exterior is a 255 horsepower beast that can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 6 seconds. For someone who appreciates both performance and legacy, this car is the perfect intersection of both. But the Ferrari is just the beginning. Selleck's garage also features a 1961 Porsche 356, a minimalist driver's car known for its clean lines and razor-sharp handling. Built for enthusiasts, not show-offs, it reflects Selleck's own approach to fame: refined, enduring, and quietly powerful. Another Porsche, the 928, adds a different layer: front-engine, V8 powered, and engineered with innovations like the Weissach axle. It's as much about comfort as it is about speed. These aren't just toys. They are statements, and they hold their value like rare artwork. Selleck's love for high-performance machines shows a personal side of the actor most never get to see. He's not splurging for attention. He's curating a collection that reflects precision, craftsmanship, and timeless appeal, the same traits that define his career. But if his car collection is a symbol of personal passion, his endorsement deals are pure business savvy. One of the best returns is television ads, not perfume or cola commercial ones, but it brought the face of American Advisors Group, AAG, to the audience. He became the presenter of AAG reverse mortgage commercials. The performance raises eyebrows for serious financial implications. Nonetheless, it proved to be more of a shrewd choice. Indeed, Selleck's husky yet assuring voice, along with the fatherly persona he portrayed, did turn out to be just what the brand needed. Industry insiders estimate that he walked away with a multi-million-dollar deal. Apart from adding this sum to his already large fortune, this campaign kept Selleck within the purview, while skillfully guarding himself against potential holes in his credibility. He gave himself high paychecks, not the first time he had considered such options. Early in his career, the actor did a slew of national commercials for Pepsi, Right Guard, and even played the Marlboro Man. Never mind that fame was not built until the years of Magnum P.I. That's the kind of money he invested to gain the breathing space he needed to continue acting without financial contribution when roles were not available. Such deals remained valid in opening the doors that later proved the course for security. But his most significant monetary victory may be this. Most fans never see royalties. For shows such as Magnum and Blue Bloods, which have hundreds of episodes and continue to run in syndication, Selleck earns passive income each year. Reruns air in different parts of the world, and streaming prepares younger audiences to discover his work. All Blue Bloods royalties, after all, are estimated to earn into the millions, since the sequence ran for 14 seasons with more than 275 episodes. Behind the calm smile and just under the rugged charm towards that man is a very solid understanding of wealth that endures. He built his financial machine on techniques that do not rely on new roles or flashy projects. Instead, it works, a quiet, reliable, and just like the actor. And while his cars roar and the checks keep coming in, there's one part of Tom Selleck's life that truly defines him. Not his fame, not his wealth, but the values he fights for. The inheritance that stays in the family. Tom Selleck may be a Hollywood star, but when it comes to family, he plays by old-school rules. There's no fame-chasing or public drama behind his legacy, only deliberate choices to protect, preserve, and pass down what he's built. Unlike many celebrities whose fortunes dissolve into court battles or disappear with reckless spending, Selleck has taken the quiet route: control the assets, invest in values, and ensure that the wealth and wisdom stay exactly where they belong. At the heart of Selleck's estate plan is his unwavering commitment to privacy and long-term family stewardship. He has spent decades building not just a fortune, but a structure around it, one that shields his loved ones from public scrutiny and financial instability. His 65-acre ranch in Ventura County is a prime example. Purchased in the late 1980s for $5 million, the property has become more than a home. It's an intergenerational anchor. Rather than flipping properties or chasing trends, Selleck chose to invest in a physical legacy: land, home, and heritage that can be passed down intact. It's a smart move. In California's competitive real estate market, land with that kind of acreage and sustainable infrastructure only appreciates. By keeping the ranch in the family, Selleck is ensuring that future generations have both financial security and a deep connection to something meaningful, a piece of their family history. And while the home may be outfitted with luxury features, from rooftop gardens to private theaters, its real value lies in its permanence. Tom Selleck has also been strategic with his approach to intellectual property. He has been careful about the licensing of his image and his body of work. Unlike most celebrities, who quite early in their lives sign all rights to their names away, Selleck is known to keep to himself about all endorsement opportunities reflect that family's values. That way, he has created all of that resource for himself, where there are things coming into his coffers: reruns, merchandise deals, and licensing deals. However, these have largely been kept away from the public glare. That's how he can keep feeding his family long after he has stepped from the limelight. And the structure behind that wealth? Likely airtight. Industry insiders speculate that Selleck has long operated through a mix of trusts, limited liability companies, and family-run production entities. His production company, TWWS Productions, used for projects like the Jesse Stone series, is a prime vehicle not only for creative control, but also for keeping profits within the family circle. By controlling production, distribution rights, and revenue flow, Selleck ensured that every project he touched was more than a paycheck. It was an investment. The way he speaks of his daughter Hannah is one strong clue pointing to his foresight. Unlike many kids from celebrity backgrounds thrust into the limelight, Hannah Selleck chose a more low-key approach. A professional equestrian and co-partner of Descanso Farm, a boutique horse breeding and training facility, she demonstrates dignity and independence like her father. The daughter was not just handed a trust fund. Rather, she has been raised to carry the mantle of legacy in a gracious way. That was obviously no accident. That is parenting with foresight. The Sellecks have managed some incredibly beautiful drama from being written up, which is hardly ever seen in Hollywood. No lawsuits, no domestic scandals, no divorce dramas. It is a tribute to the structure Tom built, not only financially, but also emotionally. Family first, always. Or in this world obsessed with fame and scandal, the Sellecks remain quietly powerful. Tom Selleck turned TV fame into a private empire, brick by brick, deal by deal. From Magnum's Ferrari to avocado farms, every move was calculated to protect the people he loves most. If you enjoyed this deep dive into his hidden wealth, like, comment, and subscribe, and check out our next video on other Hollywood icons who secretly became moguls.